Thank you very much. Very happy to be here. What we are going to show you and to tell you about is how we at then Aperto, now IBM iX, together with the whole team, evolved the Bundeswehr.de platform over the last decade. And thinking back at 2016, I don't know what looked your digital backlog like in 2016. I checked. 2007 was the iPhone launch. 2016 was the first iPhone without a headphone jack. Sometimes I still miss it. And also, you mentioned mobile. 2016 was the first year mobile overtook desktop traffic. At the same time, I have the feeling we still had to explain mobile first on a slide. So let's see. So what we set sail for at Aperto in 2016-17 was to build a platform that should last a decade or two. And to tell you something about it, it's me. I'm Tim. I'm client director at IBM iX in the public defense sector. And I have with me Marie, who is a digital consultant at IBM iX. And we're going to tell you something about what decisions were necessary, how we got started, and how that worked out through the last 10 years. Well, the most important one is this was not a website or platform that was built for the launch day, but it was built having in mind that it should stay that for at least, well, a couple of years. Probably maybe not 10, we didn't know back then, but it was from the beginning designed to be able to survive change and to evolve over time and also to absorb change without breaking. So this resilience really was a theme from the beginning. In 2017, the team started, and the Bundeswehr had websites back then. They had a lot, actually. Then they weren't bad, but they were individual platforms built on various technologies, and they were optimized locally, and they were created locally and purpose-built for specific organizations within the Bundeswehr. So the Army had one, the Navy had one, and so on. And what was missing back then was one common vision, one platform to build on. And what that led to was, well, multiple forms of communication, different designs, and frankly, inconsistent user journeys. So in 2017, the decision was made to build one platform to cover it all, to have the Bundeswehr as one presence on the internet. And, well, obviously the team back then thought about what content management system would be the right one. And back then, Aperto was already a partner of CoreMedia, as we heard this morning. Since 2002, I was surprised, I didn't know. And the decision for CoreMedia was a very long thought about one, but everybody was sure it was the right one. First one was the openness of CoreMedia for APIs and the ability to integrate third-party tools. But at the same time, it provides a flexible base for workflows and for integrating a lot of editors into. And that was probably one of the most important ones, it was actively developed on-premise. So back then and still until now, as we know, it's not only a cloud product, but the on-premise one, the self-hosted one, is still developed, which is very important. At least as important as that, this was not a single effort by an agency. From the beginning, the team back then decided on having one integrated team from the BWI, which is the IT service provider of Bundeswehr and the ministry, the Bundeswehr, the Zentrum für Informationsarbeit, and IBM iX. So a one shared delivery team was created, and it was not like agency on the one side, client on the other side, but one team. And this combined everything, design and tech, content, but also strategy, organizational knowledge, everything you needed in an end-to-end problem-solving team. also from the beginning. This was an agile project, which is sometimes in public not easy to implement, fixed budgets and stuff, but it worked. And this was also enabled by continuous alignment. So in 2019, it was launch day. And obviously, yes, the platform was also built for launch day, as we all know. But it was live, and it was a good base for evolution. One thing that was one of the first ones that changed back then was the first proof point for multi-channel. In 2021, based on CoreMedia, we also created an app for the Bundeswehr that was very lightweight app and integrated content from the website. So no additional content management system, no additional editorial workflows, just the same content on an app. And from that on, it was continuous improvement. Multiple tenants were set up with stability and security always in focus. So we are always very up to date with the current CoreMedia version, now the long-term support version. And we also set up for database decisions, measure what's happening with Matomo actually, and based on that do development and design decisions, but also content decisions or enable content decisions for the Bundeswehr. And all of that allowed for an upgraded experience over time, continuously improving. Live in Germany, like I had websites where you have build and forget, right? Build it, have it for 5 years and, well, maintain it, but not really develop it. We treated it as a bridge. You build it, you cut the ribbon, and then you measure how much traffic's going over it. Does it still fit its purpose? Is it still stable? And what does it need? Well, I'm living in Berlin, so maybe bridge is not a good example, but you know what I mean. Comes year 2022, and as you all know, the general paradigm shifted fundamentally for the Bundeswehr, for the German public, with the attack on the Ukraine. So at that point in time, the platform had to prove that it could adapt to what is now needed from it to inform the public about what the Bundeswehr is doing. In Germany, this is known as the Zeitenwende. Sorry for the German words, but Zeitenwende might work. And yeah, it was a proof point. Because until that, the new Bundeswehr was set up for bringing the Bundeswehr closer to the German public in a more approachable way. More humans, bigger images, as you see on the right-hand side. But with the Zeitenwende, what was needed changed. Because the Bundeswehr had now to inform more up-to-date about things. It was a faster development, it was more journalistic approach, and at the same time, until from 2017 to 2022, a lot of pages were created, a lot of content was there, and a lot of editorial people were trained in CoreMedia. So the Bundeswehr, the ministry, and us, we started a journey that we call the rebrush, and Marie will tell you all about it.
Yes, thank you. So at the Zeitenwende, at that point, there might have been a point to do a complete relaunch because things changed so fundamentally, but it was decided to do a rebrush, as Tim just said. So we needed to do a new strategy, which we jointly developed by doing an analysis part and then some stakeholder workshops. And there were basically 3 pillars that changed, as you can see here. So what changed is that from that point on, putting what matters now first. So news and relevance was supposed to be seen directly and more quickly. And users should basically really see at one point what is important in that moment. Then editorial standards as benchmarks, so having a strong journalistic mindset, following accuracy, credibility, and storytelling, and presenting a platform that is seen as a trusted source by users. And the last point is clarity in dynamic situations. So, of course, it's a fast-changing environment. Clear communication is required, which means speed, precision, and reliability. Yes, so these 3 principles must actively be supported by the platform, which we translated in new platform requirements, as you can see here. As Tim already said, there were around 10,000 pages already existing, and it was not feasible to basically change all of that. So the idea was that the changes must scale efficiently. Then there's multiple tenants actually that are used, and those were supposed to be changed without disruptions. So that was also a point that was important. And then more towards the content, putting current content first. The design was also to be changed a bit to be more clear, reducing clutter, and having a more precise point of what is actually important at the moment. Of course, better performance also, so reducing complexity and having modular and flexible layouts. And the last one is feasibility first. So we used a agile delivery approach for that and some very intensive testing. Yes, so what you see here is the old website. The idea of this website was that it was organizational centric, so basically explaining how the Bundeswehr works, showing the structure, as you can see already on the homepage here. So a platform as a information hub. And it was a bit less focused on the current topics. There was, from the experience itself, it was supposed to show large imagery. You can see in the header at the homepage, for example, and also stronger visual drama and limited white space. So this was good at that point of time, and it was a good base or foundation to change, but it didn't fit anymore that well to the new communication needs. So this is what it looks like now after the strategic shift. There's the news and current topics are first. You can see here, this is the homepage. On the right side, this is the first thing you see. So there's articles all the way on top that you basically start with when you visit the website. Also, the structure is a bit different. So there's a bit less visual noise and a more clear hierarchy. So you start with the articles and then you get towards more information about the organization and other things that are relevant. Furthermore, there's easier navigation. So the menu moved into a burger menu all the way on top. And there are the so-called theme pills, which are all the way on top as well, you can see. And they are the most relevant information that people can also click on and find more information about. It's a flexible system and editors have control over it. And what the highlight is that everything that was already there could be used, changed, and basically on one morning it looked like this without having to do a complete relaunch. Mobile is a thing, as we already heard several times. This is how it looks like. There's similar or the same clarity and structure as on desktop, fast access to relevant information, and consistent experience over different devices. So resilience means the ability to evolve under pressure. The proof you've seen here, there was a decade basically of change and some major strategic shifts. The outcome is stronger and more relevant than before website, which can be used as the backbone of the digital communication of the Bundeswehr. Almost at the end, not quite yet. Those are the three takeaways we would like to give you. The first one is build for change, not for launch. So continuous evolution beats a relaunch cycle, at least in some cases. Then resilience by stability and adaptability. They both must coexist for a successful platform. And the last one is coherence at scale, built to evolve. So one platform equals consistent communication and efficiency. So whatever comes next, the content platform is ready for it. Yes, and all of that was possible thanks to CoreMedia. Thank you all.
Thank you. I was still wondering, how did you make it possible when this whole context changed with Zeitenwende that you didn't break anything in the original structure? Well, adapting so fast.
It was the biggest challenge, obviously, because what we were challenged about is there's all of this content and there is no possibility for any website downtime, obviously. And it's also not possible to rebuild all of that into a new platform, into new modules, front ends, whatever. And what made it possible was, for one, the design of CoreMedia. The modular content approach allowed us to rebrush the modules in the front end without creating the need for editorial work, because actually there is no time for shifting content left to right. It just, as Marie said, on the evening of one day, it looked like the old website, and the next morning looked like the new one. And second of all, what we did as well at the same time was basically recreating, from a technological point of view, the full front end. And there was also a huge effort, but enabled us to do the rebrush. And now, from a technical point, a new front end at the same time, that is now also built for the future. That is way lightweighter than what we did build in 2016, 2017, and now allows us to also do that even more, evolving over time, reducing modules, combining modules, and get that ready for the future.
Thank you. Thank you. Looking forward to the next decades, as you said. So, so thanks.
Thank you very much.